Okay, hello folks, welcome back to my channel. Necklav here, back today and starting off the video with our coffee. Oh. Although I do wish that pump was more quiet. Although we are back today, today is going to be, well, one of the first really for me doing a EICR. It's not going to be like we do in the UK, it's not going to be that type of EICR, but it's going to be like a European style EICR. Basically we're going to be doing a condition report electrical because there is some faults that I've already found in this system. I don't know if I will be posting that video yet, but if I have posted that video before this one, it's going to be called Baking and the extension for the dryer turned into electrical madness, something. Where I discovered that even with the live views out, we still had 240 over to live from neutral because we have a leakage to ground from somewhere. Now I am going to try to rectify that today, so what I'm going to do is turn off the master, the mains, and then measure. Now luckily there's quite a lot of light outside now, so we'll have some light from that, although I am gonna have light from my phone, and then unless I take pictures with my main phone and take lights from did I have like a quick thing set up for the flash here with like the programmable button and whatnot. This is the Cat S42 by the way. Programmable key. It's just in PPT mode. Well, if I turn off PPT mode, then I can do double tap U because currently Cello is fully closed. Then I can do that to turn on and off the flashlight. Good shit. So then we have that as our torch. So yeah, so now I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna scroll TikTok for like a 10-20 minutes and then we'll start. I won't fill in any client info yet. I'll do that after the video because, you know, GDPR reasons, privacy reasons. And I'm going to be noting up what has been discovered. I'm going to be noting now that ground fault most likely, I mean as a call 2 because it's not an immediate danger, but it's a potential danger if somebody touches 240 or line or neutral and then through ground, then it could become a problem. So it's like one thing would need to happen in order for it to happen, so that's going to be a C2, and then a lot of the stuff here is going to be C3, and then I'm going to also be like rectified because I'm going to try to rectify. I'm going to try to do a wander lead test in some way or form and check between, or it's not going to be directly a wander lead test because that ain't going to be going around, but I'm going to do a resistance test between the output side of the master, drive and neutral, to the ground, each individual ground, and see if I find one which has a potential direct short. But if we do have a direct short or a very low overheating, then we potentially have something touching live somewhere, and then I'll leave the ground that's there disconnected and tape it off and mark it as ground fault do not use, and then when me and Oscar comes back here in the summer and do a full electrical spot, then well, that wouldn't matter anymore. But so we'll see what we do. So I'll be back when we actually start doing the EICR. Well, it is time to do fancy shit. By any luck, everything fires up and is fine afterwards. There we go. Then it's just to start the measure sheet out. So good shit.
This is that once in a lifetime.
Okay, then we can start doing our tests here with the main fuse off. So basically our first test is going to be, and that's why I needed to turn off the power, because our first test is going to be measuring if our actual input voltage is correct, but now I know that that also goes through there. Now, since I'm only testing, I do not need to call the power company, because if you can see, well, we could see, lol. What we're gonna do is that we are gonna measure between live and the ground on the input side and double check the voltage, and I want to do that with the power off, because I'm also going to be isolating and trying to figure out which ground has the direct short. And because of that, I want to do that with the power off. Of course, this won't help on the input side, because that's obviously still powered off of the mains, but or off of the other fuse. But .004. Aha, well, that is interesting. So I got 240 off of L2 with the system off. Is there a ring circuit on this thing? Is my question. Is there a ring circuit here? Så det jeg spekulerer på om det her hovedjordingslederen. Og hvis det hovedjordingslederen, hva I helvete foregår her? So du a tick boy, you are a tick boy that goes out here and down there. Men spørsmålet går du til jordingsdaget, eller går du til jordinga for pipesa? Is the question. Så vi har en annen jævla her som går opp inn I den der, så vil si at har vi jording som kommer fra ringen? Or what's the thing going on here? For hvis det saken, så vil jo det da si at problemet ført ned. So good shit. So yeah. So yeah. For hvis jeg går resistanse her nå, if I go resistance, hvis jeg går resistanse her nå, og så går jeg imellom, helvete, imellom stikken her for eksempel, og jord, OL, HL. Så der det ingenting. Du en annen kontakt igjen. Nothing, fordi at all jord her jo faen meg koblet. Det som spørsmålet det at det mange plasser her det kan komme jordfeil fra, så spørsmålet hvis jeg både ifra jordinga på en sikring eller et eller annet. Og vi får utslag, så vet vi i hvert fall hva slags sikring det den driver og tukler med. Men spørsmålet om det internt eller om det eksternt. Så jeg tror kanskje det eksternt. Og hvis det saken, så jo ikke det noe jævlig lett å sjekke da. Vel, jeg kunne ikke finne noe, så hovedbryteren går på. Hovedbryteren på, du måler igjen. Status, du driver med opplink igjen, strømmen på. Som jeg kan gjøre. Og du fortsatt plombert, så... Eller ikke plombert, men... Du har fortsatt låsen på deg, så... Der vi go, uplink is good. Så da strømselskapet happy igjen, så good shit. Så da blir det vel egentlig bare å ta ut sikring for sikring, og så bare test. Eller høre at everything her kommer i liv igjen. Så yeah! Så det viser seg at jeg har 240 på inntakssiden, så gudene vet hva problemet er. Og gudene vet om det en gang jordingsdag på den her, så det jo good shit. So that really means that vi... So that really means that well, that's interesting. Then the question is, do we have a ring or do we have an electrode? That's the question. As far as I can see, it seems to be a ring, but the question is if that's a ring, then the wire size of that ground is way too small. Because it looked like that ground was going up into the other cable. Now the question is, have they just branched a smaller size ground off of the mains and just jacked it into that plug? Or what have they done? That is the question. Now I remember that there was a plate down there before which was acting like the ground. Now the question is, because I measured here during the summer, I measured in that rack and then it said 130. So my question is, if something happened down there where that plate was, and that has now become undergrounded, and we need to install a new ground electrode there, if we figure out where the cable is, or whatever the hell happened. Because the obvious solution to fix that problem, if we can't figure out where the hell the problem is shock an electrode into the ground, hook her up and see if the ground fault clears, and if the ground fault clears, then well, it's no longer a danger, so I'll have to hear with Oscar about that one. So really from this point on, it's figuring out the circuit. The voltage measured is 140, it's an IT system. Voltage L1 to L2 measured was 240. L2 to L3 and L3 to L1 we have not been able to test because obvious reasons. Estimated installation date is not specified. The measurer was estimated installed in 2017 when the main electrical install here was done 8 years ago. But since the last time it was looked in that rack was 17, I'm gonna put 17 in here. Number of circuits. Since I need to note all that the relevant info to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 including the mains. So but it's technically 10 plus main. Types are both ceramic and RCD. And actually MCB because the main breakers in MCB 40 10 25 som är tydeligvis blitt 6 mil, men oval. Nummer 9 står varmekabel vannrør. Säkringen som är på där, the fuse that is there now is a 25. But the concerning thing is that there is a fuse 25 here. The wire size on that sheet. Yeah, the wire size on that thing is granted. The input wire size is also only 2.5, which is way more exceptionally dangerous. So yeah, that is gonna be, I will consider that a C1. So number 9, fuse too big for wire size, and I will consider that as C1. He liked advertising, yes he did. This should just be notes to the customer, yes. So far it's the Graufold 240 to L1, the 170 to L2, and this is after, but before we have 240 to L2. So that's something that needs to be looked into. That the number 1 fuse is too big for the wire size, that's an immediate no. But my question is, because it says here that this one is question mark because it had nothing. But this also says warm water cable blah 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 blah. So what we need to do now is double check if that is true or if that is false. Because I mean it clearly goes to somewhere. So, question of the day. Well, that's wired wrong, but oh well. Well, Joring definitely funky. It's off, but the light's still there, but oh well. Så nå hvis jeg slår av nå den sikringen her. Slår du deg av? Aha. Så du vannrør indeed. Question of the days. Hvor mye ampere drar du? Is the question. For jeg har en følelse på at denne stakkars sikringen her vel overspekket, men og vel. Det finner vi jo fort ut da. Så sett deg på tining. Og så slår vi på her. Ok, så den drar bare 1,2 ampere. Så den jo innenfor sånn sett da, men det fortsatt ikke helt rett at det skal være 25 amp på der da. Da kunne de nå ha pakket på 10 ampere eller noe. Som vel, vi har quote-on-quote, vel, vi har deksler til det, men vi har ikke selve krusen til det, så good shit. Så den jo innenfor på ampere, men hvorfor i helvete har de brukt en 25 amp da? Men det endrer jo, jeg vet ikke, det må nesten du svare på da, men blir det da klassifisert? Ja, for når den på vedlikehold så den 0,8 amp, så sånn sett så den jo helt innenfor for kabelstørrelsen, men da spørsmålet, blir det klassifisert som en C1 som immediately dangerous, eller blir den klassifisert som en C2 som potentially dangerous på grunn av at so yeah, nothing pretty much connected there. Even though that cable does go further down and then in. Så vi sier at det går den sikringen til vaskemaskinen. Question of the day. No. Da går vaskemaskinen på kjøkkenkursen da. Ja, men i helvete. Kom igjen. Da går den på kjøkkenkursen da. Som gir litt mening, for det en 13 ampere. Så hvis jeg kverker kjøkkenkursen, ok. Vel, det interessant da. For du koblet i den stikken der. Hva går den stikken på da? For ifølge den kabelen der, som kobberridd, så det kabel nummer 2 der. Jaha. Oh, okay. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so you are... Okay, okay. Så du är trapphöjds och postmaskin, okay. Okay. So you are both that one and this one, okay. So really now it's just about popping covers, taking pictures and well, call it a day really. So not the most, you know, all the way down to the depths EICR, simply because I don't have the equipment to do a full in-depth EICR. But it is enough to the point where I can determine how safe the system is and what needs to be done to the system in order for the system to become, you know, safe. So I don't really think I need to cut that down more, lol. Da har jeg markert shit så godt som jeg kan i hvert fall, og funnet ut hva som faktisk er vått. Så ingenting her ga mening. Så nå gir alt det der mening i hvert fall. Så vi ser inntakskabel, tror jeg er 25. Uttak fra selve sikringen er 10 mil, I think. So good shit. Så yeah. So now begins the round of photos here. Sax, and then of course people was here like, oh, we're gonna do funky shit. So then 10 and 11 ended up being here. Instead of in a order, lol. Then we got you, which I need to cut a bit. So there we go. Then pictures of the fuse box. I'll clean right that one a bit later. So now it's pretty much just pictures outlets, the ones I can easily reach, and then pictures of stuff in the cellar, connection boxes, the heating stuff, and all of that jazz. First of all, I'm gonna take and dump this in that one cup from the other day. Heat that up. Hello. Okay guys, I am back and I'm sifting here, moving stuff over from this one into the computer document just to write it a little cleaner. So I got the ground fault 240 to L1 and 170 volt to L2, and then we have 240 from ground over to L2 input, code 2, and then it looks like a 3-phase system but only 2 phases connected to main. That's a further investigation. Then we got breaker number 9 is too big for use wire size. I've put it at C1 currently. Immediate danger to occupants. Although, depending on what Oscar say, we may put it as a C2 because we double check the amperage. It's only the water cables or the heater cables for the water supply which is on it, and they only draw 1.2 amps max from the wall. So it may be that but that it's only a C2 because it's not pulling enough amount of amps, but it also kind of goes into a C1 territory because if it happens, say, a short circuit, before the breaker would trip, it would burn out off both the fuse, the cables into the fuse and out of the fuse, because both the intake to the fuse and the outtake from the fuse is both 1.5 mil. 25 amp is supposed to have 2.5 at least. So that's a concern. Granted, that is solid core, so the amperage rating would maybe be a bit higher, but still not 25 amp. So yeah, so really that should have been a 10 amp fuse. The only problem is that I don't have any 10 amp fuses that I could just quickly replace it with. So yeah, we're kind of stuck on that front. So I'm going to continue to fill this in, enjoy some coffee, and I'll be back with you because you guys also need to charge so good shit, because apparently I've been recording for a solid hour. So okay folks, I am back, and I don't know, this is probably going to be the end of the video, since pretty much what I have left to do now is just go around, pop off all the covers, take pictures, pop them on again, and I will pretty much be done with the EICR as far as I can do it with the equipment I have. And I've pretty much noted down here, I've shared this with Oscar, so I'm waiting for him to look through it and decide if we're going to keep that a C1 or if we're going to make that a C2. I would say, Jesus, why is there so fucking toasty right here? That spot of the screen is hella fucking toasty. That's kind of concerning. Oh well. Since I will consider it a C1, because if for whatever reason there were to be an arc or some kind of short circuit of whatever sort, the cables would become very hot and potentially start to melt the insulation before the breaker kicks off, because the wire size is too small for the rated breaker. And that is both on the input and the output side, which means it's technically speaking double the problem. So we'll see what he says about it. I took and sent it to him in Teams, so he can check it whenever he has the time. So yeah, and then I also took and filled in the meter manual in here. I'll check off all of this afterwards, and then I also took and marked up all of this in here with my new markings, and also put red on that 1.5, since that's a kind of concerning part of the system. So then I'm gonna print this out, I'm gonna sign it, and then we'll not really address it now, but we'll probably address it when we actually do the surprise upgrade. Normally I would advise her about it immediately, but I am gonna take and wait with that until the summer, where we're gonna surprise her with the entire upgrade. So yeah, so that's probably going to be about an 8K upgrade, unless I decide to upgrade the panel as well, which then it's probably going to be more like an 11K upgrade. We'll see what I end up doing.
There was this one year where I participated.
Since fuses themselves is going to be about 6K, so that's good shit. And then cabling, we're going to need probably about at least like a 50 meters of cabling. I don't know yet if we're going to use RKK or if we're going to use PXFP. We'll see what I decide to do. Because pretty much everything is going to get rewired.
Melting from the heat.
So I drew Santa on the beach, melting in the heat.
Especially the stuff that's not grounded is gonna get completely new wires, so the entire living room pretty much is gonna be rewired. Unless there is ground up at the junction box, which in that case we can run it from there.
So yeah, you're right. It is summer for us in Australia
So,
during Christmas. So it's a very different experience. Yeah, makes me feel a little sad.
So we'll see what happens. But anywho, I think that's gonna be.
Snowy stuff.
I think that's gonna be the end of this. But if you're wondering, I'm listening to Erusha VA. Go check her out.
Christmas.
She's a voice actor.
Summer and is typically associated with hot weather.
So yeah, so I'm gonna just write them this, print it out, or well, I gotta wait on Oscar's opinion before I can print it out, but we're gonna call the EICR done on that note. So I'm gonna fill out the last of the information of this one, because this is gonna be the draft, and then this is gonna be the final one. So I'll mark this one as draft, mark that one as final, and then both of these will go to the customer / recipient. In this case, when the summer comes around, and we come up here to do the swap. I also gotta find some notes on the electrical company, because if we're gonna be swapping the entire panel, it's gonna require us to take the meter down. So we gotta contact the company about that. Unless we're able to just leave the cross sections in and just demount her from the DIN rail in some way, shape or form. The only problem is that if we're gonna swap the entire panel, we're gonna have to go into the neighbors and pull the main fuse in there, because I think the main intake is on their side. So then we gotta go over to their side and disconnect the main intake, so we can take the cable out of the panel. So we'll see what happens. We may use the same panel, but we'll see what we do. So anywho, I'm gonna call that the end of this video. I'm gonna try to keep this video a little bit short, because I have those 2 other videos or 3 other videos to edit. Now I got the, or well, is it 3 or is it 4 actually?
Maybe people don't hear.
So yeah, so I will say thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little bit of a EICR, not really a full extent EICR, because again, I do not have the correct equipment. I could have done IR and insulation resistance reading if I just put a long ass cable onto my probe and just went around and shoved it into the outlet, but
girls hitting on guys.
Instead I'd rather get an actual long like wander lead that I can just plug into my multimeter and then run around with it. So yeah, so I will say thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, I like for greatly appreciate it. As always, check the links down below for my socials and all of that. And until further notice, stay tuned and stay awesome, and Nikolai the heck out of here.